Scott, Drew, NSC, Fan TV, 2-2 draw with the rivals Atlanta United. But it was a draw that felt like a loss. Got quite a few things to say. Quite a few, a rather large amount, in fact. So get us started, Scott.
In all sports, there are a number of micro pieties. One of them is that you always yell at the ref for getting things wrong and calling against your team. We did well with that. One of the things that I have to get off my chest, that it's not really about the game, but it was really about the NSC fans, was the fact that we booed players that were injured while they're down. And so for as much as I love this team and for as much as I love Nashville, I don't want to be associated with that kind of behavior. And so for all of the things that we're going to say that are going to be positive and supportive things about this team, one of the things that I want to see most is sporting behavior from our fans. And recognizing that the other team's players are human beings that share this green earth with us, taking pleasure in their pain is not a humane thing to do. And sports should be things where we're made better and we're brought together, not torn apart. And so that kind of behavior from the fans is something that I despise, and I don't want to continue to have to abide. So with that said, this was a squandered opportunity. Squandered. S to the Q, to the U, to the A-N-D-E-R-E-D. Squandered opportunity. Do you know why? 1, we were playing with a man up. 2, we were playing at home. 3, they were undermanned. They didn't have Brad Guzan in the goal. 4, their midfield was totally ineffective even whenever we left them alone. They were generally ineffective against us. This was a game that we should have won, had more chances, and could not put in. And it's very frustrating as a fan to see a team deserve a win, but seem to just not be able to equal.
And let me say, the 3-5-1-1, with so many players missing on international duty. Granted, they were also missing quite a few on international duty. It's true. You were missing Zimmerman, Johnson, big players, huge. And honestly,
and Godoy
too, huge. I mean, with our depth going both forward and defending, it took a huge hit. And I think we saw it, especially early on. And it's honestly no hate for Moore. Love Alex, love you, Alex. But
didn't play well tonight.
Didn't play well, especially at the start of the first half. I think he seemed really uncomfortable in that position that Johnson would have played on the right. Danny looked fine on the left with the 3-5, so the 2 that were kind of like pseudo winger midfielders, which I do like it. And I think honestly over the 4-4-2, I think it allows for more players to sit flat across the back as you got the 3, and then you just focus on winning the midfield, just trying to get the ball onto the wings and then crossing into the middle. For Sapong or Cadiz to stay just right up, very play like a true striker role. Now the issue though, I just said win the midfield. Well, where was the midfield?
They were completely emptied. They completely emptied the midfield so regularly, and so there are costs with this with the 2 in the front playing as they do, because what happens is that those midfielders get aggressive and then run up and fill those spaces, and that just empties the midfield. So we're playing with 3 in the back, and then it looked like 8 in the front. I mean, like, it was just bonkers.
Yeah, and I think especially
those numbers aren't quite right.
Yeah, well, there can't be 8 if there's 3. Then 8. Well, so Willis too. No, but here's the thing. Honestly, I thought Dax was going to track back. I noticed he was, and I think he's great at it. Captain, my captain, seeing those avenues through the midfield to get the ball forward. There was one really decisive pass, I think, the first part of the first half, where he just swings it in and just really beautiful through ball. I mean, he just regularly does this, sees these avenues going forward and goes for them. The only issue is the counterattack, and especially number 23, Mulroney. I mean, honestly, and this is another probably testament to how uncomfortable I think Boyle was playing that position with Johnson over the game, is that he was really uncomfortable with Mulroney running on that wing. And he had a hard time both going forward because of it and stopping anything he could do. Because when it came to going back and defending, Boyle drifted to the center because he kind of had to nose it in the middle. I mean, there wasn't much of a choice, but it meant that the first half, I think, structure-wise, the 3-5-1-1, without the depth, it doesn't work as well.
So I think that there are other features of this that we paid other prices for it, because the problem was that because we didn't have any dedicated defenders in the back, we were getting beat on the back sides on set pieces. And so because we didn't have 4 who were committed defenders across the back, what was happening was that on both cases, we were everyone was pulled near, and the back post was left open because we didn't have dedicated defenders playing in the back. And so I think that there are features of the way that we're set up that not only affect the way that we go forward and we hold the midfield, but actually affect the way that we've been able to play those set pieces. Because on both set pieces, everyone got pulled forward and we didn't have anybody watching the back, and we got beat because of it. And so, look, I think that this is the future for this team. I think that breaking the habit of the 4-4-2 is a good idea. I think that we've got the personnel to do it, especially whenever we've got a full team. But the problem is that we need to then change how we're setting up for those set pieces.
Honestly, yeah, and I think with AK coming soon, even more strength going forward. I think it's going to be great. I think you're right. Breaking up the 4-4-2 is very appreciated, and I do like that he's still going, Smith, going for the 3-5-1-1, even after it didn't necessarily, seem like it wasn't working. Were we playing out of the back effectively? Were things lining up going forward? Was there too much cloggage in the midfield? Like this game, there wasn't. Maybe there wasn't enough players in the midfield to go out onto the wings, whatever, leave the middle open. I'm not sure, but what I am sure of, speaking about their team, is that Moreno was let free. Number 10 for Atlanta was let absolutely free. And, I mean, honestly, he had really good control of the ball, I'm not gonna lie. But there was at least one moment where he had a really poor first touch, like settling the ball. And nobody was on him. He had nobody marking him. There was that huge void that was not filled in the midfield. And he just got the ball. It doesn't matter that he had a poor first touch. He could just run onto it, and then plenty of space to go wherever the heck he damn well pleased. It was a little weird. Anyway, that's what I have to say about Moreno.
We got one more thing to talk about, and it was the decision at the end to sub off Mayer for Don Lottie. So 2 in the back, and then really 3 forwards. What did you think of that?
Well, we haven't talked about all the cards. To talk about that, you have to talk about the cards.
Right.
To talk about the cards, you have to talk about the refereeing, which again just seemed like we're playing against, like you said, red team and blue team. Damn refs. Well, here's the thing. It's almost like they were trying to collect the infinity card. You had all the yellows. Okay. And honestly, the fact that it was 23 is also hilarious.
Oh my god.
I mean, this is a ridiculous challenge, but I'm not gonna lie. This is even the refereeing both ways is pretty poor, because I don't think that was red. I hate to say it. That was just for my team, so I appreciate it. Thank you, refs. It's almost like you love your fate, no matter what it is. The die has been cast. But
it's got real philosophical.
yeah, but anyway, to the point, which is that 10 men. It just seemed like, subbing off Mayer wasn't a good idea, because it meant that on the counter, we scrambled like chickens with our heads cut off. But Gary Smith really did roll the dice on it. Speaking of the die being cast.
Yeah, so props to Smith for instead of just collecting another point, going for 3. I think that, again, knowing that we had and you know what? Also trusting those back 2. Trusting those back 2 to trusting, putting a lot of trust in Romney, and showing that he is also a first-class defender, and being able to stay on and be able to handle that responsibility. And the last thing is also trusting Anababa to play a role that he hasn't seen any field with, and now he's playing a 2 in the back. And so, great goal for him, superb play, towering header, and also really responsible play in the back. And Smith really put in a lot of just showed him a lot of faith. And I think that think that he's growing into a good role, and he'll be a good back for us for a long time.
I think that's right. Great. Nashville SC Fan TV, Scott, Drew, signing off.